Hello and welcome, fellow subscribers and other racing fans. Tonight with another episode of Setup 101, and we are visiting the desert, the heat of the desert in Dubai. Dubai International, that's the track for this week's AOR race. So we are going out on track and try to improve the setup a little bit. We're starting from scratch, and well, where do we start? Dubai, a track very tire consuming because of the heat mainly, but there is not much we can do about that except for maybe driving slower. So we are not concentrating on the heat as for now. We try to accomplish something in this regard later. So I already drove some laps. What we change here first is the brake balance, which is currently at 57. We put it to 56, so one click more to the rear. Brake ducts seem to be okay for the time being. Good. Also, force feedback. Force feedback was kind of okay, but yeah, you know, my personal changes here. I always use good. Master scale probably on 24. Should be enough for the circuit. Okay. Next page, downforce. I'm not really sure about the downforce. 1.3 is what I tested. Felt okay. So let's try 0 and 2. And then I decide if that's too less or if it's good enough. Weight bias. Keep that steering ratio. Probably not the worst idea to keep a faster steering ratio here, because you need to react quite quickly in the corner combinations. I put it up one click. I'd rather have it up more clicks, so slower steering ratio. That's more my driving style, but really, as I said, you need really quick reaction times here. Good. Toe in, let's put it down to 0.1. Already noticed that in the corners the car is very stable with the rear, and we don't even need this on this track. We put down the right height again by 5 millimeters, front and rear. The spring rate, we put that up because the car, well, it is nicely to drive with the default spring rate, but wherever we can use it, I recommend you to increase the stiffness of the springs from in the McLaren. Yeah, 1, 2. Let's go up 2 clicks, and let's keep the sway bar for now. Bump stops, I think we can put them down to 5 millimeters. There are some nasty bumps, but they don't seem to unsettle the car as much as they usually do. What we do, however, we stiffen up the bumpers, the slow bumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. We do that because the car reacts a bit slow to steering changes. You turn in, it reacts a little bit too slow for my taste on this track, and I think stiffen up the dampers can help with that, definitely. The slow dampers are for, well, for the roll of the car and for the slow movements of the car. Okay. Acceleration lock, I had that in my first test, I had it at 10%. I'll try 12. Let's try 15% for the time being, but we reduce the preload to 0 because we don't want to have the rear come around. We'd rather have more acceleration lock here on this track, but yeah, I don't like the deceleration lock. Radiator, let's put that down to 20% for now. And try the shorter gearings with the longer 6th gear and see if that helps. The default gearing was actually okay for the track, but let's see if we can use the shorter ones. Well, drive with 60 liters for the test, that's okay. Put up the brake mapping so the rear doesn't come around in the corners. Okay, that's it for now. Let me put up my telemetry on my screen and then we can go out for a short round of testing. So, what we could see was the car was very stable when the tires were fresh, so that's a very positive sign for lower downforce, I would say. However, I'm not completely sure about something else, which is the mechanical grip. What we could do is to soften up the springs again. However, the stiffened springs gives us very nice turn in and very nice behavior of the car on track. So I don't really want to make it softer. Also the sway bars. It's a hard decision, but I think I will put the sway bars a little bit softer to get a little bit more mechanical grip in the car. Of course, that might make us slower in the corners and the cornering speed, but overall it gives more stability for this car on track. Also, acceleration lock was okay, I think. I will put it down to 12%, but put the preload up a little bit and see if we can still drive the car with that. Radiator was okay, I think. Let me see in the telemetry data. Okay, there we are, telemetry data. First we will see if the brakes are okay. 675 seems okay to me. 693 was the absolute peak. So might be a bit too hot, but that was only when we are braking to a 0. So I would say numbers are okay. 671 degrees. Oh, 703 in the rear. Well, that's a bit much, I would say. So we will give it a little bit more brake duct for this Let's see the oil temperatures 180 and water temperature 114. I think that's still okay, but we might open up that as well a little bit. Well, tire temperatures are astonishingly okay. I think there's not much we can do about, but well, 110, 115, that's to be expected under the given conditions. So, well, pretty much okay with that. Oops. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps here completed. And we had 19% tire wear. That means 4% per lap on a 40 lap race. Wow. That's really gonna go on the tires. This race will probably kill us all. Okay, back to Brogy Cars. I wanted to increase the radiator a little bit. You can close that for the qualifying. Use the qualifying fuel to test the qualifying run. And increase the brake ducts to 80. So, should be okay. We will test again. And, well, depending on how the outcomes are, we are trying a little bit more downforce in the next test. Okay, back to the garage. We have a new best lap time. There is still much to gain, and track limits are also a big topic here. For the sake of testing, I didn't really respect them. I'd rather have my respective test results. So, I'm quite okay with what we achieved here. The setup seems to be alright. But I will put up more downforce and see if that affects lap times in the same way the other settings changed our pace. So one thing I noticed, I have been faster with the more downforce, but I'm not really sure if it's worth it. Let me explain. We will look into the telemetry data and we will see what is the peak speed. It is 258, and on the previous iteration with the lower downforce we had 261 as a top speed. So I can't really tell you. For the race I would probably choose the 0 and 2 downforce, the 0 and 2 wings. But maybe for the qualifying you want to choose the 1 and 3 wings, because I think it can make you faster in the middle sector. But yeah, for overtaking obviously it would be better to drive the lower wings. That's something I would say. 2, 3, as on the 2 big straights you are 3 kilometers per hour faster with the lower wings, and on the shorter straights it's 1 kilometer per hour. That's well, it's quite something, I think. So I would consider doing it, as I said, using lower wings for the race. I think the tire wear will also be about the same. Yeah, no real differences here. It looks like it's a little bit more wear with the 0 and 2 wings, but yeah, it's negligible. Oh god, what a hard word. So after all, I would close the setup 101 at this point. I hope you learned something. We are using the default tire brushes, as I think more tire pressure would hurt us even more. I know all 4 tires are overheating here, but putting in more pressure will do more harm than good, in my opinion. So we leave them just as they are. Putting the brake balance 1 to the rear. However, we had this little problem. Oops. We had this little problem with the overheating rear tires then, so a little bit more brake ducts that closed the deal. Okay, as I said, 1, 3 or 0 and 2 downforce. Do as you want. It's both possible. Yeah. We took out some rear toe in angle because the rear is very stable on this track. I know with the Aston that was always the problem, oversteering, understeering, everything on this track, but the McLaren has more mechanical grip, so that's totally okay to use lower rear toe in. Obviously we need the lowest ride height possible for more cornering speed. Higher spring rates also for more cornering speed, and more reaction of the car really helped us. Yeah. Therefore we also increased the slow bumps. We stiffened up the slow bumps to get a little bit more response from the car in the corners. Yeah, similar to the previous setup 101s, we set up a very low slip acceleration lock and a very high deceleration lock. If you want more reaction of the car, you can increase the preload if you want to. That's also up to driving style. I'm often very hard on brakes and throttle, so I don't need much preload. I bring the car to do what I want with my very quick pedal input. So if you are smoother with that, which is probably better, then you might need more preload to get the car around the corners as fast. Yeah. Another thing which I think is quite important, putting the final drive to the most left. Acceleration is what we need here, but don't forget to put up the 6th gear then, as you will run out of gears if you don't do so. Good. That's what I always do, brake mapping to the maximum. Nothing else changed, I think. Well, as always, you will find the link to the setup in the video description. Also, watch my other setup 101s. And so, that's it for now. See you next time, and bye bye.